There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. May we be seated? Thank you. Honorable members, let me congratulate and announce the appointment of Honorable N. Mahlangu as the Deputy Chief Whip of the majority party, ANC. International Widows' Day, observed on June 23, aims to raise awareness about the challenging circumstances faced by countless widows who often find themselves in poverty. In addition to financial difficulties, widows worldwide encounter discrimination and are often denied their rightful inheritance after the death of their husband. The 2023 theme is Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. Statements by members. Are there any member statements? Honorable Ngomane.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to render a statement on behalf of the African National Congress to appreciate good work done by members of the ANC and other progressive political parties in the National Assembly for voting in favor of the National Health Insurance Bill that is now before the National Council of Provinces for adoption, to revolutionize and transform the way healthcare is funded for all South Africans. The bill seeks to achieve universal access to quality healthcare in the Republic of South Africa, in accordance with Section 27 of the Constitution of the Republic, to establish a national insurance fund and to set out its powers, functions and governance structures to provide framework for the strategic purchasing of healthcare services by the fund on behalf of users. Honorable Speaker, we have about 8.5% of our GDP spent on healthcare. Half of that goes to taking care of about 14% of society which can afford private medical aid. As a consequence, you see a heavily underutilized private medical industry, but luxurious at times private medical industry, and 85% of the country is then forced to go public health care, which is breaking at the schemes because of lack of funds. Aging infrastructure, huge levels of vacancies in critical posts of doctors, paramedics, nurses, long queues, shortage of medication, and so forth. Speaker, it is against this background that, as the African National Congress, we fully support the bill, as it has been one of the extensive and inclusive public consultation processes since 1994, with more than 3 years of hearings, about 60 public hearings across the country over the past 3 years. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Mashilo.
Thank you. Good morning, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. Indeed, we welcome this bill. This is long outstanding. As we all know that the majority of our people in South Africa and majority that are unemployed, they require services like any other person that is wealthy. Health is equal. There is no cheaper, no expensive, it's the same. This bill seeks to make sure that we normalize, we in real term equalize everybody. And we want to appreciate this bill, and we wish all of us must support this national health insurance fund so that we can all be equal before the law and all equal before the health. Thank you very much.
Honorable Mlombo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to greet you, to greet the members of the Executive Council and our new from the box Deputy Chief Whip and the entire colleagues, the members of the Provincial Legislature. Honorable Speaker, I rise to render a statement on behalf of the African National Congress. The ANC has learned with shock, Honorable Speaker, about the robbery and vandalism incident that happened on Monday the 19th at Carolina Hospital. Honorable Speaker, it is regrettable that criminals have become so insensitive that they even victimize vulnerable patients. During that unfortunate incident, the criminals made off with personal belongings and money for staff and patients. The extent of the damage of the vandalism of the vandalized items at the casualty ward is still being quantified, but it's a major vandalism. The ANC strongly condemns such barbaric acts and behavior. Honorable Speaker, not so long ago, the same hospital, Carolina Hospital, experienced some protests from certain sectors of society. We are positive that our law enforcement agencies will work 24 hours tirelessly so that they can effect arrest for those linked to the robbery and vandalism. We commend the MEC for Health, MEC Manzini, for her prompt response and for calling for the strengthening of the security at our health facilities and other strategic institutions. We suggest that there should be trauma counseling sessions for the victims of these barbaric acts so that they are able to cope with the trauma that they have experienced. Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
Honorable Shomwe.
Ngibonga somlomo ngibonga nomhlonishwa uChief Whip of the Majority Party ngokuphakamisa lesishukumisi ngempela kube into embi kakhulu attracted the whole into ye gangsterism igcwele yonke le province, even beyond the province. But to this one particular, amaphoyisa asebenza ngayo in a short space of time. We are going to get a report, and those that were involved in that particular brutal action will be called to the book. Ngisho nje ukuthi nanamuhla emsuka lekwa yonke abantu bayazenzela bafake ama-posters bathi bayatoyitoya for i-service delivery in all the units zasemsuka lekwa. Nakhona lapho sifake ihlo elikhali ngoba ingabi sagcina ngalapho service delivery service bese kugcina sekuhlukumezeka abanye abantu kwalimala impahla kwenzeka nazo zonke izinto ezingekho emthethweni. But I can assure you le yase Carolina in particular results will come forth, and we are going to give a report to the House. Thank you very much.
Honorable Nyembe.
Greetings, Honorable Speaker and members of the House. Honorable Speaker, I rise on behalf of the Economic Freedom Fighters to call upon and implore the MEC of Community Safety and Security, Honorable V.R. Shongwe, to get the Provincial Police Commissioner, General Manamela, to institute an investigation process to the Perdekop police station following the latest reports on a police officer who allegedly killed an innocent civilian. Kule steshi samaphoyisa azenzela umathanda and angaphezu komthetho. There have been a number of corrupt elements reported with a little action taken, and this is the reason we are calling on the Police Commissioner and the Honorable MEC to keep a closer eye on this police station. I thank you.
Honorable Shongwe.
Ngiyabonga somlomo shukumiso siphakamiso ngomhlonishwa. Indeed, the Amersfoort police station, even nange outreach program, the legislature, it was identified as one of the weakest police stations in the province. And the Ministry of Police were properly informed. And I'm still awaiting our visit to that particular police station. Myself, the Minister, as well as the national and provincial commissioners. Thank you very much.
Honorable Stole.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to deliver a member statement on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, noting that in 2011, after a doctor was murdered at Middelburg Hospital, this provincial government announced that scanners and metal detectors will be purchased and installed in all hospitals in the province. Further noting that in 2015, after a patient died at Kwamhlanga Hospital, the Executive Council announced that they will tighten safety and security measures by adding electronic systems to security services at public hospitals in the province. Further noting that in 2019, after a patient was murdered at Witbank Hospital, the Premier announced that amongst the interventions that will be implemented, there will be metal detectors, establishment of security committees in all hospitals, CCTV cameras, and panic buttons. In 2021, a pregnant woman was raped at Mbuleni Hospital in Intlazaj by the same man who sexually assaulted another pregnant woman at the same hospital 6 months earlier. The department responded by saying it wasn't sure why the man was not suspended after the first arrest. With the recent incident again, the Mpumalanga Department of Health responded by saying that they are looking for a permanent security solution for hospitals across the province to cap attacks of hospital staff and patients from 2011 to 2013 and to 2023. Same empty rhetoric over and over. The MEC is visiting the crime scenes, but nothing happens. Is she going there for action, or is she just going for the cameras? It doesn't help for the MEC to be all over and nothing changes. When will your empty words translate into action? When will your broken promises translate into action? And how many more lives must be lost? How many more attacks must take place before you realize that this is urgent? I thank you.
Honorable Mashilo.
No, thanks, the Honorable Speaker, and thanks to Honorable Sithole. Indeed, any incidents that occurred at the public institution is a concern to all of us, including this government. The matter that we have just raised are matters that the Department of Health, together with the Department of Safety, they have been dealing with. Certainly, those issues will be brought to the conclusion after all these processes that they have started have come to conclusion. And indeed, in no space of time, we shall speak something different than what we have just presented now in terms of the background. Thank you very much.
Honorable Weber.
Honourable Speaker, I challenge the governing party to agree with me on my member statement. Madam Speaker, I rise to deliver a member statement on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus. It is the responsibility of the municipalities to see how it can fund what is required with regards to service delivery, with a tight budget in a manner that will not impose substantial rates and tariff shocks to residents and businesses. Why is it then that while the municipal councils are aware of just how dire the situation is for the average citizen, that they have safeguarded the employee salaries and councillors' allowances at all costs? How is it justified that several municipalities went so far as to cut from expenditure on key projects while their salaries are untouched? Despite the prescribed norm of 25% to 40%, the Ehlanzeni district municipality spent almost 60% of its operating service delivery on councillor allowance and paychecks for employees, yet infrastructure in this district is falling apart. Public servants have been the beneficiaries of decades of above-inflation salary increases, outperforming private sector salaries. According to Treasury figures, tax revenue grew by an average of 7.5% annually over the past decade. But the compensation of public servants grew more quickly, at an average of 10.3% annually over the same period. The Freedom Front Plus asked the leadership of Mpumalanga to propose a salary cut on its public servants and councillor wages, to bring it down to the prescribed norm and to hold their councillors to account during their term. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Mashilo.
Thanks, Speaker. Well, salaries are not termed as allowance. It's salary. Salaries are determined in terms of South African policy. There is a moderation commission that is established at national level that evaluate public servants and the private in terms of the salary. Whether I want to call it an allowance, but it's not an allowance. It's a remuneration. And they are remunerated as such, like all of us at this level. Proposing that they must do a salary cut might not be a solution to the problem of poverty, etc. The question is, are there services that's supposed to be rendered being paid? We're supposed to collect remunerations, money to make services to be rendered. I think that's where the problem is. Cutting the salary of individual is totally not a solution. It could be referred as a drop of an ocean in the bigger problem. I think the problem is the payment of service delivery that were faced at the level of municipality, the system used in that regard. From that point, we can't equate that with the private sector. Some time ago, we've been told the ShopRite CEO has been paid far millions, even the Pick and Pay, including the macro where they were not paying salaries. So all those issues, put them together in a basket, will come to one conclusion that the private sector, that the beneficiaries of everything. Thank you very much.
Executive statements. Honorable members, there is an executive statement from Honorable MEC PP Shiba. I now call upon the MEC to formally table the executive statement for not more than 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me greet you and as well as all honorable members. I'd like to render an executive statement about the launch and handover of Marapiane Bakgatla Primary Cooperative Grain Project. The Mpumalanga Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs have launched the Mpumalanga Grain Corridor and handed over the Marapiane Bakgatla Primary Cooperative Grain Project, as well as Rusk Milling Plant on the 19th of June 2023 in Marapiane at Dr. J.S. Moroka Local Municipality in the Nkangala District. The project is the culmination of significant cooperation and commitment by various stakeholders, including the traditional councils, local municipalities, grain farmers, and the communities. Nkangala Grain Project forms part of the Grain Corridor program in the province due to its agroecological zone and climatic conditions competitiveness, which is mainly suitable for grain crop production such as sunflower, soya beans, sorghum, and maize under dry land. The Marapiane Primary Co-op Ltd, which is co-owned by 6 young people, is utilizing the 145 hectares of land offered by Bakgatla Bamocha Traditional Council. So far, 74 hectares planted maize and 53 hectares planted sunflower. And the project has created 40 jobs with a projection of creating more than 100 casual jobs opportunities. Currently, the project has expanded to the vegetable production by construction of 1 hectare vegetable shed net, installation of 4,000 smart agricultural boxes for vegetable production, 3 borehole drilling, equipping and installation of the drip irrigation system. The Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs has supported the project with infrastructure development, production inputs, mechanization support, training, extension and advisory support services, and market linkages. The primary market for the yellow maize is Rusk Milling Project in Siabe, and have secured cooperative intents with various markets, including VKB Silo Settlers, NTK, Randagri, PTY Ltd, and Russell Stone Protein in Bronkhorstspruit. Vegetables will be supplied to schools and hospitals through the government nutrition program. Rusk Milling Agro-Processing Project, on the other hand, is owned by a young PhD graduate who saw an opportunity of processing grain for food and animals' feed. This project was supported by the department with milling infrastructure, training on food safety standard and compliance, SABS and HACCP. This project buys raw materials from Marapiane Bakgatla, Balimi ba Moroka grain cooperatives to process foodstuffs such as meal rice, samp, sorghum, meal, etc., and animal feeds. Rusk Milling Project will continuously supply AgriHub and other strategically selected distribution centers, as well as the MIF PM, to supply the government nutrition program with dry ration, meal rice, samp, sorghum meal, and dry beans. Smallholder poultry producers such as Excellent by Lebu Project and Kanyezi in Chief Albert Lutuli, who were also supported with infrastructure and training, are also targeted market to be supplied with animal feeds. Other smallholders, farmers in the province, will also access affordable poultry and piggery feeds. This project has created 80 jobs opportunities, permanent, seasonal, and casual, and has a prospect of creating in excess of 1,000 indirect jobs at primary production site. In addition to meeting the GNP demands, the farmers will also be supported to access private, local, national, and international markets through the AgriHubs and the Mpumalanga International Fresh Produce Market. This initiative is also significant for its coverage of all key stages of the grain processing value chain, which have coined as from farm to fork. They include crop production, milling, packaging, and market access. The product moves from the farm field until it is eaten by the fork on the dinner table. This is a groundbreaking initiative happening within our province, as directed by the Honorable Premier in the State of the Province address, to ensure support for emerging and small-scale farming and to create sustainable investment for them to thrive. The department has heeded the call and affirmed that the economy will be driven by small and medium-sized enterprises, cooperatives, and informal businesses. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I will now allow representatives of the political parties to comment for not more than 3 minutes each in the following order. The EFF will start, followed by the DA, Freedom Front Plus, and lastly ANC.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to honorable members and the people in the gallery. Honorable Speaker, as the EFF, we note and accept the executive statement raised by the MEC for the Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs. Honorable Speaker, as the EFF, we still stand firm and have stated clearly from the beginning that we will fully support any project that is aiming to benefit and improve the life of the people in our communities, and also that is creating jobs for the young, vulnerable, unemployed people in our province. Honorable Speaker, we applaud the 6 young co-owners of the Marapiane Primary Corporation Ltd, who took it upon themselves of starting this meaningful project. Honorable Speaker, we also applaud the young PhD graduate who saw an opportunity of processing grains, food, and animal feeds. We wish that this province can have many young people with the same vision, especially the young graduates who can come with such initiative and be supported by our provincial government. Honorable Speaker, we thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and greetings to the House. As the DA, we welcome the statement by Honorable MEC, and we support the initiative. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Freedom Front Class.
Madam Speaker, the intention is noble. The intention is noble. I unfortunately have my doubts, because the outcome of this initiative is not going to be judged by opposition parties, because we are being paid, and we are being told by the ANC that we are being paid to oppose, but we are not going to be the judge. The judge will be the financial mirror. The business will look into this financial mirror and then establish whether it was able to make ends meet, whether it was able to flourish on its own. Every government has the intention and the obligation to have certain businesses as shelter businesses. You shelter them for a while, but thereafter they must stand on their own feet. And the question will arise, will this initiative be able to stand on its own feet? Because if it can't do that, it will go down. And I have my doubts whether it's going to survive, especially milling. I have experience of milling. Milling is it's a very difficult enterprise. It's very difficult to make ends meet, and therefore I do have my doubts, notwithstanding the fact that I call this a noble intention. I thank you.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, myself and the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Jackie Masia, we were there on Monday when the official opening of this noble initiative took place. We were impressed to see how happy the people of Dr. J.S. Moroka were. But we were impressed to see the coming together of different stakeholders to appreciate, ululate, and welcome this initiative. Amongst ourselves were the traditional leadership. Amongst ourselves were the young and the old people. Amongst ourselves were the youth of that area whose purpose was to ensure that they create jobs for themselves. But we also appreciate the number of jobs that have been created. We have experienced those people that have been employed there. This initiative will feed directly to the Mpumalanga fresh produce market. We want to employ the Honorable MEC and her department to ensure that they speed up the finalization of the Dr. J.S. Moroka Agri Hub, because it is a direct build towards the performance and the successful operation of that initiative. But we want to employ the department also to consider building these initiatives across the province so that they are able to sort of feed from one to the other. But lastly, we want these markets that the department is talking about, because this initiative will not succeed unless there is local and international market. So we want to advise the department to ensure that they assist these young people, happy as they are, that this initiative do not collapse, by ensuring that there is sustainable local and international market. We welcome this initiative as the African National Congress. Thank you very much.
Motions without notice. Are there any motions without notice? Honorable Mahlangu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of the African National Congress, I would like to rise and move a motion without notice for this House to appreciate our provincial government for hosting and celebrating Africa Public Service Day, noting that Africa Public Service Day is celebrated annually on the 23rd of June and is entrenched in the African Union calendar. The day originates from the Conference of African Ministers for Public or Civil Service, which was held in Tangier, Morocco in 1994. It was agreed at the conference that the 23rd of June should be celebrated as Africa Public Service Day to recognize the value and virtue of service to the community by the government. This year's celebration was held under the theme, the Year of Acceleration of the African Continental Free Trade Area Implementation. Further noting that the ANC moved that this House congratulate this good initiative by our provincial government. This initiative aims to discover innovations, rewards excellence in the public sector, motivate public servants for further promote innovation and enhance professionalism in the public sector. The event was held on the 15th of June 2023 at Mgobozi Community Hall in Gomazi local municipality. I thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I have great concern. Is acceptable and has a view in the city of Mbombela that is currently running for 3 weeks without water. As the African National Congress, we call upon all relevant stakeholders to speed up the interventions in eradicating the outbreak, and we also call upon all our communities to remain vigilant, to take a special care of children, as cholera can be prevented by using safe water and by boiling it once, at least 1 minute, and always mobilize our society to wash their hands with clean water with soap. I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion agreed to. So agreed. Are there any motions without notice? Honorable Sitole.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise to deliver a motion without notice on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, noting that the Department of Basic Education has concluded the Bella Bill public hearings as part of the public participation process. Honourable Speaker, the DA has opposed to this bill that seeks to take away powers from parents and communities who know what is best for their children and put those powers in the hands of a failing state that can't even manage its own affairs. Further noting that this government had 30 years to build schools, but they failed dismally. Now they want to overcrowd schools despite capacity of building more classrooms and schools to ensure all learners have access to good quality education. As the Democratic Alliance, we maintain that the Bella Bill will deprive communities of their constitutional right to be involved in and make decisions regarding their children's education. I therefore move that the department must deal with the real issues in our schooling system, like dilapidated infrastructure that poses a danger to learners. I further move that the department must ensure that all learners have textbooks for all grades and all subjects. Lastly, Honourable Speaker, I move that the department must focus on learner dropouts, as Mpumalanga has the highest learner dropouts instead of a smoke screen through the Bella Bill. I thank you.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion agreed to. The motion is defeated. Honorable Weber.
Madam Speaker, I rise to move a motion without notice on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus. The Freedom Front Plus wants to commend the police in the Mkondo local municipality after 3 suspects were arrested in Piet Retief after they were allegedly caught red-handed stealing fuel during a business robbery at the energy depot. This followed after police in Piet Retief received a complaint about a business robbery in progress, and police officers immediately attended to the incident. Upon arrival at the scene, they discovered that suspects were busy draining diesel from a depot tanker into a truck. Even though the suspects were armed and fled the scene, the police gave chase and arrested 3 of them. These arrests emphasize the need for prompt reaction time and courage from our police force and how it makes a difference. The Freedom Front Plus wishes to sincerely express our gratitude towards all the police officers who vouch for the security of the general public by undertaking several risks in their job. I so move, Madam Speaker. I think you support that.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion agreed to. So agreed. Notices of motion. Are there notices of motion? Formal motions.
Speaker, you have missed the hand of Honorable Malachi. Aye. Speaker, there was a hand here.
Okay, no, thank you very much. Notices of motion. Honorable Malachi.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I raise my hand for motion without notice. And I think it's immediately after the Honorable has spoken. Honorable Speaker, I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters with a saddened heart following the tragic passing of a 6-year-old.
Honorable Malachi, maybe it must be captured correct. Let us go back to motions without notice so that it is captured correctly.
Okay.
You can proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and again, greetings to you and all honorable members. Honorable Speaker, I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters with a saddened heart following drowned, not just to get doomed by the day as the life of the young people who are meant to be the future continue to perish. May their soul rest in peace. The EFF calls upon the MEC of Kokta to ensure that municipalities